That is a great question, my friend, and I hope I am live now. I should be live here, yep. Let's go live in our Discord as well, so we know that the lessons are starting. Everybody who's joining the lessons, they can join through the bootcamp, of course, and they can ask live questions. They can interact just like you guys are right now. So what's the intention of today? Hello, my friends. First of all, welcome. It's good to have you here, dear Red. I really appreciate your presence. Second of all, I would like to compare my exams to the OSCP exams because I honestly think we do better. And I know that's a bold statement, but let's look at the evidence that we have, shall we? So first of all, signing up. I can give you the link. Here's the link. So let's invite customers. Can I? There it is. View as visitor. I will share this link with you. That is for the material itself. That's why it's only 60 bucks or 70 bucks. But if you want the exam certificate, you can add that on as well. So let's do both. There we go. This is that one, and then the cert is gonna be in here. Let's see, view as custom, no, visitor, of course. There we go. So you will get your exam vouchers. It doesn't matter that these are public. It doesn't matter that these exam vouchers don't change. One of the requirements is that you email from the email that you used to sign up with. That's how we check. We don't check that voucher per se. We just want to make sure that you have a voucher. A lot of people just ask for a voucher. We don't use it, but it's there, so people can have a little sense of security. Now let's look at what our exam stands for, shall we? So first of all, someone is currently taking the exam. They have, as you can see, 8 quizzes that they need to do with a certain amount of questions, and they need to get 70% in total to pass. They have an hour to do all of the quests, which should be more than enough. And before this even, we sent them an NDA. And we sent this person an NDA that was totally fucked up. We sent in that we would steal their money. We sent in that their company would be ours, all in that NDA, and they just signed it. So if I send you a document for this course, be sure to read it. Everything, every little detail counts there. All of the documentation is important, and I might try to fuck with you. I will probably try to fuck with you, I should say. So let's look at the lessons that we have, shall we? So I think this is also important to understand that our syllabus isn't really for beginners. It's not made for beginners. Why not? Because we go really deep into certain things, like, I will get the knowledge domains for a second. We go for client interactions. We look at those. What are those? What is pen testing in general? Some of you guys might not have used CVSS before, so you'll be able to go through all of the steps of a pen test, design the deliverables, define the importance and functions of the deliverables, and use the CVSS score. In our client interaction domain, you're going to learn how to communicate securely. If you don't communicate securely, you might fail. There are 10 quality gates for every exam. Out of 25, we randomly pick 10. There's always one major. If you fail that, you fail the exam, which can be sharing information to a threat actor, for example. And this is one of the most important chapters in our course, together with documentation and your web hacking and your API hacking, your network hacking. Those are all important. That's why it's such it's a substantial course. There's a lot that we try to teach in it, and we don't go super deep into everything. We want to give you a taste of what it's like to be at least a little bit of a polyglot. Those who adapt survive in this world. So if you really want the job, adaptation is really good, and get to know those documentations. You will be writing a lot of documentation, especially if you come to my live classes. My friends, documentation is important. If you don't have documentation, you have nothing. Your customer is paying upwards of 10,000 euros for your services, and you give them nothing? That's not how it works. You really need to have your deliverables set properly, and everybody needs to agree on those. Plus, they need to be communicated securely. Can you see where everything is always so complicated? That we go for network testing itself, of course, port scanning, services that are vulnerable, HTTP, SMB, SSH, SFTP, all of these things you're gonna learn. you're gonna abuse, literally, because I have a server which we can test this on. And after that chapter, you should be able to be proficient in network hacking. In the exam, you will get a certain scope, which can be an IP address, which can be a URL, which can be an IP address with a port, which can be URL with a port. There's a lot of difference that you can get, and it might be even a mixed certain scope, and that's even worse, that mixed scope. Because in that mixed scope, you will have one test plan that you need to define, one big test plan that is valid for everything. That makes it hard, so you might want to define 2 or 3 test plans. Just a little tip there. For website testing, we're gonna go pretty big into the web vulnerabilities, and I have the of main app hacking here. I didn't really explain every single one, but why did I not do that here? Because there's just too many. We will go through all of the labs that I have available, which are a crap ton if you ask me. Let's see. So all of these labs are gonna be going through APIs, Burp Suite. We're gonna test Burp Suite. We're also gonna test TAP on that. Business logic. What's the business logic flaw here? CSP, CSRF, CSTI, IDOR, IDOR1, GWT, LFI. You guys will not be bored. I promise you that. That is a promise I make. If you're bored, I'm doing something wrong, dude. Jesus. If you have all of that under control, I need you to get proficient with tooling, not hacking the APIs themselves. You need to be a little bit proficient in that, but you need to be able to use your tooling. Guys, if you do your exam, if you want extra points, send in all of your project files. If you have a project file for Postman, send it in, because that will really help your documentation, proving your case that you're worth your value. Send everything that you can in. If one of my pen testers is watching right now, don't you dare not send this in. This needs to be included in the reports. This is an attachment. For methodologies, I really stress that a lot of these methodologies need to be mixed. We go into exploration of some topics for some of them, like OSSTMM. That's one of the big ones. We treat BTS as well. NIST and the OWASP Web Security Testing Guide. Not the OWASP Top 10, the Web Security Testing Guide. Last of all, we're gonna do a capstone project together. If you want extra points, you can fail another quality gate if you pass your capstone project. It will be an emulation of an exam, one of the exams that has already happened, so you won't have to worry about getting that exam again, but it will be a full report, plan, scope meeting. Everything is included in this capstone project, and I will even try to interview you for a job if you want. It's not a real job, but it's a fake interview to give you some experience in what we can ask. Now, if you pass our quizzes, then you can pass to the next round, which is a verbal exam. A verbal exam is tough, my friends. We're gonna roast you. We're gonna literally roast you. So I hope Nazu is ready. I hope he's prepared, because he's gonna get a roasting. I cannot share that on my screen, of course. I bet you I've shared my screen perfect, but I will show that later on, because we need it anyway. I'm gonna show you the exam, how it goes. So Nazu will be interrogated live. I'm sorry, Nazu. I really am sorry. If anybody from the Discord has any questions, oh, there isn't even anybody in the Discord. Jesus, then maybe in the live stream. Do you guys have any questions for me? Hello, Erwin. How are you doing, my friend? How is your cat? Is it alive or dead? I prefer dead, because they tend to eat me. I don't like that. I just don't. It's not my favorite, you know. Let's go into course material for a second, shall we? So, first of all, we see those chapters coming back. Defining what a pen test is an important chapter. We're gonna start. There we go. And I'm just going to go through the definition of this pen test. So in this case, we have a new pen test. What are we going to test? Because there's so much possible. There's VoIP. There is the phones from the people who work there. There is the applications that can be tested. There's the networks that can be tested. What's really important here is that you define things in a smart way. You probably heard about SMART. So SMART is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Make sure that your goals are set in that order or in that way. You really need to define the scope properly. If you have any doubts, question. Don't assume, because assuming is making an ass out of you and me. I don't want you to make an ass out of me. To yourself, I don't give a shit, but not out of me. So make sure that you communicate. I cannot stress that enough. Being ethical is an important part, but what is ethical? Because that means so much. There's so much definitions of ethical. Well, how do I define that? Your client is your holy target from now on. When you get a target, when you acquire a target, you become a target. So you really have to be careful with the customer's data, that you don't copy anything to your local machine, that you always use password protected files, etc. Really important. Now we have different types of pen tests. As you can see, it's growing. There are more types of pen tests required, and that is where OSCP fails a little bit for me. They just teach networking for a big degree. Also web a little bit, but it's not the same. It's definitely not the same as what we teach. We don't teach privilege escalation. Why not? Because none of our customers have ever asked for privilege escalation. The thing is, if we get into their servers, they say get the fuck out because that's none of your business, but let us know because nobody should be in there. When it comes to different pen tests, we can apply different methodologies as well, of course, but it's just important that you realize that a different type of pen test might need a different deliverable, might need a different methodology. Important to keep that in mind. We have different deliverables as well, of course. That NDA, I already talked about it, where I fucked Nazu over. The test plan, you need to have your test plan in order. Every single time there is an assignment, there's gonna be a test plan. That is how real life goes, my friends. Test reporting, same thing. Every assignment is gonna have a report, a debriefing, and a sign-off slip. If you don't do these in the assignments, you might fail the exam, so please make sure that you have all of your deliverables, including a sign-off slip, which is just a little email that you request my signature that everything has been done according to plan. That's it. So these are some optional deliverables as well. Like let's say that we want to start the pen test and we want to let them know, we can send them an email. Any save files that we have, other test cases that might be relevant, those things can be shared. As for the test report, make sure that you introduce, and I don't have it here, I think, expected result summary. Oh, this is just for every vulnerability that you found, but a nice summary is also required. So what I do is I make a summary, a executive summary and a normal summary. Executive, I just name things in a normal order, whereas the technical, I will give them like the technical remediation steps. Every single vulnerability should have remediation steps as well. I don't have it in here, but it will definitely help make that summary, because then you can just copy and paste. So you're not bound to my test plans and test reports either. If you think you have a better one, use it. I am not the person who's going to apply different, like you need to do my stuff, but I will check for different things. Like for example, in your test plan, I will check that these are at least included and a nice summary. It's as simple as that. Just make sure that you have the right thing and the right documentation. Now let's see if we have any more questions coming in. I'm about to take Sun 6. Oh, good luck, my friend. Good luck, Orion. Do you think this would be a good course to take after? This course is good for if you want to get into a pen testing position and you want to make yourself open to any type of work. Why? Because you can do web, you can do network, you can do API, you know how to use their tools, and even if you don't know it exactly, you can always be worked in a little bit more for APIs, for example. And I see that more and more microservices are being managed, more and more APIs being created. That is a big part of it. So there's going to be a big growth there. Web 3.0, same thing. If you can pen test Web 3.0, perfect, you're gonna be good. The thing is though, this exam focuses a lot more on the pragmatics, on the NDAs being signed, on all the items included. We focus heavily on that. And why is that? Because our client, like you said, is our holy grail. they feed us, and the problem is we become a target because we sometimes hack big targets. Let's say that we're hacking a big bank, Bank of America for example, not that we are, but if you are, you might become a target yourself because you have material and information that shouldn't be shared with the outside world. I hope that makes sense. Quick coffee. I have the bad coffee. Ugh. Are the bootcamp signups? So if you sign up for, let me give the right URL. If you sign up for this one specifically, you can join the live lessons. And you can get your exam certificate separately if you would like. Let me see, shared course. Let's do that on Twitter. I will share that on, oh right, I don't. That's not gonna work because I'm not logged into Twitter here. We can do it through the live stream, I think though. There you go. So today is like a first lesson I should say, where we're going to go over a little bit of an introduction. This is gonna be streamed as well. I'm not sure if I'm gonna stream everything. There isn't really a schedule. I do these as I can because of course I have a full-time job as well. Plus I manage a lot of people in my company. It's not easy, so I try to make it regular, but just know that there can be some differences. So here we can go over the same thing again, but this is just in PowerPoint form, so I'm not going to go over all of this again. I'm going to give you an assignment if you want. Now we're going to enter an Hexpert test plan. We're going to test this hexpert.com. So what's an NDA? Do you have an idea of what an NDA is after all of this, after we've been talking? I'll give you a few minutes, maybe you can write it in the chat if you want. But if you have an idea, let me know, because I would love to see what you guys have to say there. Thank you, I really appreciate the support, my friend. Oh, and I should be doing this on Twitter as well. I keep forgetting to start a Twitter live space. My head is a mess, dude. Let's see, and then we can go on. So Twitter, the big blue bird. The big blue bird is giving me trouble. I don't want to log into that. What is wrong with you? No. Never mind. Let's go on. I mean, you can talk about what is discovered in the test. Yes, perfect, exactly. But also, it protects you a little bit. You should get your NDA signed as well, because you have your methodology. Eventually you're gonna build parts of your company which you might not want to share with the outside world. You need to have an NDA defined as well, and get a lawyer to do this, by the way. Don't do this yourself, that would be stupid. Let's see, the next question that we had was, what is a test plan? Of course, it seems logical, but what is it really? And what's included in your test plan? Think about that. What are you going to include? That's a big one as well. Curious what you guys can come up with. Let me see. Yeah, exactly. And we do have tools, we have methodologies, we have inner workings. I don't give a shit. I teach them in this bootcamp because I want people to learn. But there are certain things you want protected as well, like your client data. You might use word lists that you want protected, etc. Exactly, methodology is gonna be important. Scope, remember, scope is very important in this one. You're going to say what you've tested, what you're not tested. You can even include risks and mitigations in there. Include your contact people, like who do you contact? Because if you're gonna send out a report to anybody in the company, that's not a good idea, of course. It should go to the security researcher on the other side. Make sure that you define all of those things with a little bit of a summary for methodology, with a little bit of a summary of what CVSS is, for how you're going to grade the vulnerabilities, what's allowed to be done, such as being allowed to exploit or not to exploit, exactly. For example, you can include that denial of service attacks are out of scope. Those are things that you can include. Great job, Orion. I love your interaction, my friend. I really do. Let's see. So we're gonna do one more. Let's do the debriefing. What's a debriefing? any idea of that. Let's say that you've completely done your test, you've sent in your report, now you're gonna do the debriefing. I wonder what you can come up with for that one. Let me see if I have an example of a debriefing. I don't think so. Deliverables, the parts, empty test plan, notice of engagement. I don't think I have one in here, but that's okay. Oh, you're not annoying at all, my friend. I love the interaction. I love talking to people like you. Showing your findings, executive summary for non-technical people. Yep, I do a PowerPoint. Just do a simple PowerPoint where you go over the vulnerabilities. Make sure that you include the criticals first and then work your way down to the lows and informatives. But include everything in there as well and have the right stakeholders in that meeting. If they can't be there, just record a video and send that over password protected. We have a lot of options here. Me internally in the company, we use Keeper. Keeper is a password manager, but I can also send files through it, so it's secure. It's end-to-end encrypted, plus it has own encryption on disk, so there's a lot of things that we can do there. But make sure that all of these digs are secured. Everything that you send should be secured. And I know I'm hammering on that. I know it might be a little bit annoying, but I'm gonna try to get you started without signing the test plan. I'm gonna say, okay, everything was fine, and then I'm not gonna sign the deliverable slip. There's really a lot that I can do to try and fuck you over. I can change it completely and put some stupid ass text in there. That's a quality gate that I need to put text in there that takes over your company, for example. So make sure that you have an idea of those deliverables. Now that was just a definition, of course. There are also videos in the course, so don't worry too much about that. But there is a little bit of an explanation as well. So it's a little bit of a description of what we've done before. I'm not going to go through all of them again, but just make sure that you have this document ready for when you're going to make your deliverables. So this is your test evidence. This is your evidence that you've worked. All of these things need to be in order to confirm that you've worked properly. Let me see real quick. Your method of show how you went through it. Yep, exactly. Exactly. OSCP doesn't cover any of this shit. And I know I might be boasting a little bit, but there is PTES from Hack the Box. I hate that, dude. I hate that. Because you cannot do your exam if you didn't do all the labs. But the labs are so confusing. It's not that I don't know how to solve them. It's just fucking annoying. It asks for something with cross-site scripting. I know exactly how to alert the document.domain. But why is it not working? I don't know, dude. I'm stuck on XSS for that matter. So yeah, we try to cover all of these things in order. We try to make it a good order where you have your network, then your fuzzing, burp suite, CSRF attacks, web exploits part 2 because it's quite a big one, as you can see. You have your methodologies. This is an important one because here you're going to learn about how you're going to main app hack. So you have the application in front of you. What are you going to do if it's a broad scope? What are you going to do if it's just a normal network? Your vulnerability scanners and tools. If you don't use vulnerability scanners on my exam, I'm gonna have to fail you because it's a waste of time to not use vulnerability scanners, honestly. If you have it, use it. There are plenty of free vulnerability scanners and you should at least be running Zap. Zap is a big one. Postman can do a little bit here and there. You have Ready API, which you can buy, but there's also like a 30-day trial or something. There is BrightSec. That's also a vulnerability scanner. You can scan my Hexpert labs fully from A to Z. It's important that they are open, and we have added a massive lab recently on HackerRats. HackerRats used to be a website that I wanted to design, I wanted to work on, but I don't know, dude. It's not possible in my free time. I don't have enough free time because now as well it's like almost midnight. I'm gonna take a small break in a bit. But I want you guys to, for this one, at the moment, I would like you to make a test plan for hexpert.com. If you want an example, I will give you an example on screen. So the test plan, empty test plan. I'm gonna take a small break and I'll be right back to interrogate our friend Nazu. So in here, let's see, can we enlarge that a little bit? Yeah, we can. And can we copy and paste everything from here? Nope, we cannot. Can I? Oh, of course, I can just put this. I have this on Google Drive. Can I make a share link? I should just be able to put this on my drive. Yeah, if I have my drive connected, that is. So let's go to my drive. Then you have these documents. It's important because I don't want you to start from zero. I don't like that. So let's put our Pen Testing 101 course in here. There we go. Put the whole folder in here, right?
Are we doing anything tonight, or is this cancelled?
Tonight I'm going to interrogate Nazu in a little bit. I was uploading this folder because I wanted people to make a test plan for hexpert.com. Sorry, I didn't understand that.
Well, or just said Wes is unwell at 2 p.m., so not 100% sure. Just going off that information.
Oh no, sorry, it's not cancelled, and this is recorded as well, so... Oh. Apparently I was muted, I'm sorry about that.
So, no problem, sir. How's it going?
I'm good, thank you. How about you, my friend? Good to see you,
Not
good to
too
see
bad.
you. I was muted the whole time. No, it's not cancelled. What I did was I went over the first documents on YouTube. Everything is recorded, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I just went over the first set of documents that we have, the deliverables, talked a little bit about that. And right now I'm uploading the course folder because I want everybody to make a hexpert.com test plan. Your scope is hexpert.com. I'm curious what you guys will make of that. Hopefully the upload will continue a little bit faster because it's taking its sweet time, but I can just, oh yeah, of course, I can include that in here as well. Sorry?
I wanted to ask, I don't think I'm at the point at this current moment where I'd be able to do that kind of work, but I'm interested in learning the extra content over what you have on the website in terms of a pen test, but I'm not at the point of like running full pen test or taking an exam at this point.
That's okay.
So I'm more...
The reason why I ask you to make a test plan for me is really simple. You're gonna make a ton of test plans in this course. It's the intention that you will make a test plan for everything that you test. And I know that's fucked up because it's a lot of work, but that is how client interactions go as well. Jesus. Sorry. What? Let's see, there we go, to the launch. So there's an empty test plan template in there, and you can just try to fill it in, see what information you can bring. I'm curious what you guys can make of it. And I should link that as well to the courses here. Where is it? 001. Here we go. Copy that link.
When's the due date for this?
I'm gonna take 15 minutes maybe. 15 minutes should be more than enough. It's not gonna be finished at all, but I don't wanna bore you guys to death either with assignments. There we go.
And is it just to keep for ourselves, or is it to send to you?
We can discuss it later on. Like in a little bit we are going to discuss it, see what you guys make of it, and see what you guys have added. I'm curious, I really am.
Is there a different time? Because right now it doesn't super work for me.
Oh yeah, if you want you can always do this later. You can always send in the assignments. There's no problem there. There are assignments in the course material as well. So I'm just going over those a little bit. Test report, there's an assignment for the deliverables. There should be notices of engagement. There should be methodologies, letters of pen test commencing. This is also maybe a good one, a shorter test plan, which is also good. There's nothing wrong with this test plan either. It's a little bit shorter. But it's just to give you an idea of what you will be doing a lot, because your customer is gonna request this continuously. Like the thing is, my customers, they don't give me a big ass project. They give me small pieces of work every single time. It's like, can you test these 5 endpoints? Can you test these 10 functionalities? And every single time I should have a test report, because I need to know who to set in, which one of my resources can be available. I need to make sure that the coverage is right, in scope, out scope, everything is defined. And from this, I will make Jira tickets for every single endpoint that I need to have tested, and for every single flow that I need to have tested. I'm gonna make Jira tickets and I'm gonna assign that to my testers. That way I can plan ahead as well. So test plans, I don't always write them either. I often ask this from like one of my guys, because I am not directly involved with the project anymore. What I do is project management to a degree, but it's only to a degree where it's customer handling. Pentest management is over to Brandon right now, and he's doing an excellent job at that. And I am more working on courses as well, like this, for example. I love teaching. The thing is, there's a lot of repetition in pen testing, and a lot of people don't understand that. Pen testing isn't just hacking. Pen testing is so much more. It encompasses a world of different from what people think. And that's why it's so difficult to find good candidates. Because every single... Sorry?
I was going to say, a lot of people don't have any business knowledge at all. They go, I like technology, type. But there's a function to this.
Yep, there's a methodology that we need to follow. There are standard operating procedures, is what we call them. And I have them all defined in my Jira. So if I go to my SOPs, I need to make sure that I open one that's available, because otherwise I work according to NIST. So according to NIST, I separate data on need-to-know basis. These things are not that bad, but for example, if I want to create a quiz, I have a SOP for that. It's important that all of these things are according to my quality requirements. And I know that sounds a little bit egotistical, but I need things to be good.
That's what you'd expect from any professional.
Exactly. At the very least, I would expect them to meet my quality requirements for a course, for example. These are not things that are impossible. What I often see is that people will submit a course without a clear syllabus. I want to have a syllabus. For example, I'm reworking the bug bounty guide, and I have a whole narrative for that. The thing is, you're gonna be leveling up. Every single lab that you do, you're gonna get experience if you hack it, and that's gonna level up your system a little bit. We're gonna define that still. But right now there's a course description, there's who this is for, what you will get, what is the minimum requirements, and what you need to know before you can get started, together with the syllabus in full and the material in full, where I can find that. So
yeah, when I was looking at the content that you produced versus the content that, let's say, TCM produced, his is a lot more straight to form, but he goes off on lots of tangents. Yours is little bites, but builds to a nicer conclusion, I feel.
thank you, I really appreciate that.
I have appreciated both of your methodologies, but you're both covering incredibly different things. You're quite a bit higher level than he is in terms of your basic material, because you're covering things that are still like 1% functions on a particular thing that is so dangerous, like a website. You get so much information, it's so poorly maintained and managed from a security perspective. Where we've done network security for 15 years or more in like standard industry. Like I learned that when I went to college. But I've never heard anything about web testing at all in my college years. And I did a cybersecurity bachelor's, so.
That's messed up, dude.
It is funny to me that's how little we really think about web security besides put a laugh in front of it. So
Yeah.
We learned SQL injection, and we learned a little bit of like how a laugh kind of works. Nothing else. No cross-site scripting. But I was also like IT bachelor's, not a computer science bachelor's. So we did barely anything on the web, mostly like Cisco and that kind of stuff.
I have the same. I have bachelor's in networking, CCNA and stuff like that.
Yep.
Oh man, I hated that. I hate that with a passion, and that's why I don't like network hacking as well. Like OSCP teaches only network hacking to a degree.
Yep.
They teach Active Directory, but that's also network. They teach web hacking, but that's just to get a reverse shell. They don't teach it to exploit things. Whereas we are working with sometimes crypto exchanges that make tons of money, so they're hammered constantly, constantly, and the littlest exploit can be a big difference for them. If they are out 1 minute, if they're not online for a whole minute, then they'll have 100 people telling them that they lost money because they couldn't do a trade, and then they are responsible for giving them the money.
Well, this is another business logic area, right? It's a function that's part of the business, but it can be so small, and yet it's such a huge problem. I had one bug that I was not exploiting, but it was business logic error, nothing technical, and it was on a pizza site. They would have it where you could increase the number of toppings past the limit, and it wouldn't charge you at all if you changed
Aye.
a certain variable in the website. But it would look exactly the same. You took out one tiny bit of the piece, and you could add as many toppings up to the 10 limit you wanted, because that is a back-end validation. But you want to put 5 bits of pepperoni on there? Go ahead. And you could just basically turn off the validation of adding this thing. It then sent it, grabbed the number. You couldn't modify the price or anything, but yeah. It's like business logic. How much each one of these is charged is a business logic error. Just because you can't get a reverse shell on it doesn't mean you can't do damage. And that would be a fine.
Exactly. You get it, man. I have my labs as well for the business logic. You can't really do anything here. Now, let's say that we have 3 items here. You can see that amount equals 1. If I include that amount and make that 100, I can order 101 items. That's not the intention because there's only 4 in stock. So that's a business logic vulnerability. The price doesn't change even though I order more items. There was another logic vulnerability, but I can't. Oh yeah, right. You can include different IDs that don't exist yet. So ID 0 can be included. That is not even a product. But there you can get promotions, for example, for products that are still coming but are invisible. There's a product that is invisible. I think it's number 10 or number 9 or something. But you can add another item here to your cart. It shouldn't happen. So now we can go to checkout.
But people have such a hard time wrapping their mind around some of this. I have some of the, for me, XSF is the kind of really harder thing for me to wrap my mind around, because I get you're passing it to a customer, but I don't always know how the customer's going to react logically, but I know how the system's going to react sometimes. And I'm still trying to learn how do I take XSS, get shells, get logic errors, get information out of the system. I'm still learning up to that point.
Yeah, I totally understand that, man. Like, especially for XSS, it's a big vulnerability. People think it's just adding a script to a web page, but it's definitely not. There's so much more. And you have stored and reflected, of course. You have get and post variables. I will teach this as well in an upcoming lesson, but we're going to actually steal cookies, and we're going to make a crypto miner that we're going to set on a website. So that's going to be in our targets, that we actually exploit them, but also bypass all of our filters. On the exam, if you get XSS, you will probably get a filter. Which reminds me, our friend is almost done.
My favorite lab by John Hammond was when he did a embedded, where you send a script to a person, and in the background there was a web client running. That's the administrator, and you couldn't access the attack through, but you couldn't directly interact with that person. Like, you didn't send them an email. It was posted, and then when it was registered on his page, then it reflected to you, but you had to, sneak it through the system in a certain way. And I found one of those on a military capture the flag challenge, where I couldn't exploit it because I didn't remember how to do it, but I recognized the attack chain that you had to do because all those pieces lined up. It was some international military thing I did when I was in our military. So, yeah. but it's very.
That's awesome, dude. I love military applications like that. Like, the military is always ahead in that regard, in my opinion. They're always behind as well because they use older technologies, but you guys get to work with the coolest shit sometimes, dude.
I don't. It's not older technologies necessarily. It's specific applications of the older technologies that don't get, you know, publicly announced. But I worked in
Exactly.
like electronic warfare, so there's a lot of those kind of low-level vulnerabilities and exploits to like we exploit stuff like Wi-Fi or anything like digitally like that. That's just this exploit the cell network to pull cell phone information off the off the towers and stuff like that.
All
Spoof
right.
system.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have to interrogate my student.
I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much, sir. And I'll talk to you at a later time.
Thank you as well. Feel free to state, and you know what questions can be asked. Nazu, I hope you're ready. You can always type in the chat. You don't have to answer me verbally. You can do it in chat. But I'm gonna ask you a few questions in rapid pace, and I'd like you to answer all of them. But I'm gonna ask them in bursts of 3 questions. So remember that it's gonna be 3 questions every time. What is the port number for SSH? What is on port 21 and what is on port 22? Delta, please don't say which ones they are. It's Nazu's exam. It's okay. No problem, my friend. It's okay. We have much more questions for you. Exactly. And what is the port number for 22 SSH? And what is 21? "21 is often FTP, my friend. Good job. Now, you know what? 21 is also SFTP sometimes. SFTP can be used to just send your files over an SSH connection. So just so you know, what is the port number for HTTPS and the default port for SFTP and the tools used to scan for ports? So a little reminder, what is the port number for HTTPS, the default port for STP, and the tools used to scan for ports? What is Nmap? And what is 443? You can take your time to write out the questions, that's no problem. Nmap for yep, exactly, for scanning ports, that's a good one. Yep, exactly. Good job. And SFTP, did you answer that already as well? SFTP, don't see it in here. You can use Google, by the way. Don't be afraid to use Google. Like, you can always use Google for this. This is not something that you're not allowed to use Google for. So we had this question as well, because you answered that. Okay, now I want to scan a list of servers in a file. I have a file. I want to scan them all. Give me the nmap command. The file name is text.txt. So just text, or we shall name it list.txt, just to make it easier. So I want to scan that with my port scanner. What do? I also want to scan a subnet of a server. So let's say 10.0.0.0/24. And I want to scan with a URL, with expert.com. I want to scan all of these things. Please make me the commands for them. Expert.com. Which commands are you going to use and why? Please include as much detail as possible. don't be afraid to take your time, of course. Let's see, I need to mark them as well, that I have asked those questions. Did you understand the question, Nazu? Nazu, are you still there, my friend? Perfect. Take your time, take your time. Don't want to rush you, just want to make sure that we still have connection. You did a good job on the quizzes, by the way. I'm proud of you. Nmap man minus IL list.txt. Nmap SV as dash dash P. What is this? Can you please explain me what IL does and what SV does and dash P dash? Why did you use it on those? SV for version, for banner enumeration is what we call that. And why didn't you use banner enumeration on all of them? Minus IL for file. Very good, correct. And dash B dash, what is that? And for your information, dash dash top ports is not really useful in this case because you set 1000. It does that automatically. If you set a number other than 1000, it will be useful. But in this case, you're basically telling it what to do while it already gonna do that. So there's no real use for it. Not that it's wrong or anything, just a little tip there. And what about your timing engines? Why didn't you include timing templates? Why didn't you include SC? Dash P dash is not for pausing your scan. It's for scanning all the ports. Every single one. Like every single port. UDP, TCP, not just the top 1000 ports. The default behavior by Nmap is that it's going to scan the top 1000 ports. What is different from Nmap versus Nabu? Feel free to use Google, by the way. Nabu is a tool as well. There's a difference between Nmap and Nabu. There's something that Nabu cannot do, which Nmap can do. That is what I'm looking for. If you don't know, feel free to let me know. I can explain. Don't want to get you out your concentration. That's okay if you don't know an answer. You just have to communicate clearly. That's of course. By project discovery. Good question, Tricky Lemon. Tricky Lemon is a proctor, by the way. We are with 3 proctors for this exam. I am never gonna judge an exam alone. That's not up to me. That's up to all of us. We're gonna say if you pass or don't. And the difference is, like, there's a clear difference. There's a difference why you would use Nabu versus Nmap. This is a little bit of a trick question, so don't worry if you don't know. But this is something you're gonna have to know if you start pen testing. Of course, you need to know your options. What tools do you have? Are you gonna employ them? I'm gonna intervene here. Nabu is written in Go. It's a port scanner in Go. It's very fast, but it's a port scanner. It can do port scanning, banner enumeration, but not your scripting engine. Let's see, specifically designed to... Well, not really, but I think you get the point, right? We're gonna use Nabu because it's super fast. We're gonna test everything really fast because it's written in Go. And that those results get piped into Nmap. Then we're gonna use Nmap's scripting engine. So that's a little bit of the methodology that we're gonna be looking for in your exam, in your professional career as well. You need to be aware of tools, what they do, and how you can use them. Really important. Let's see, on to the next one. Where's my question form? There we go. Let's see. What is SMB? FTP anonymous login? What is that? And can I upload files to an FTP with anonymous login enabled? So, again, real quick, what is SMB? FTP anonymous login, what is that? And can I upload files to an FTP where anonymous login is enabled? I'm purposely not including the questions as a copy-paste, by the way, because I want to make this an exercise of understanding as well. You need to really understand what I'm asking. If you don't, ask me questions. That's a big thing. You never have to be afraid to say, I don't know. I will look it up, but I don't know. That's an important thing that you need to learn. Because you don't know everything. It's as simple as that. I don't know everything. I'm a moron. I need to look up how to untar a zip file. What the fuck? I've been doing this for like 11 years. Good job, West. So yeah, don't be afraid to say that you don't know something. Just make sure that you can find it. Like if I ask you what Nabu is, you can look at Nabu, you can look at the features that it has, and then you can understand those features. Versus Nmap has also features listed. You can understand both features. I will repeat the questions again because I've been yapping on. What is FTP anonymous login? What is SMB? And can I upload files to an FTP with anon login enabled? Yeah, we can upload a file. Yep, only if the user has write rights in that folder. If the FTP anonymous user doesn't have write rights but only read files, we cannot do that. That's important that you know that. And then what is FTP anonymous login? What is that? I have no clue. Honestly, I'm clueless. I am now your customer and you can treat me as a clueless moron because that's my perfect role. I fit perfectly into that, the clueless moron. Exactly, Charles Merzey. Yep, very good, very good. So if you guys want to fight along, feel free to. This is a literal exam that somebody is taking right now. And we're waiting for the answers for what is SMB and what is FTP anonymous login. Because it sounds cool, but what is it, right? So we're waiting for those answers. Feel free to take your time, Nabu. You're gonna kick ass, my friend. You're gonna get this exam like there's no other. And we are almost done with the network part. So just a little bit more there and then you can move on to the web exploits. Those are my favorite, of course. In the web exploits, we'll move on to one question at a time to make it a little bit easier to understand. I just want to confuse you. That's why I asked 3 questions. I know it's fucked up, but imagine what a real pen test is like. It's really fucked up. They throw scope changes at you. They throw Suddenly there's a new person that needs to be in scope. There's a lot that goes on in a pen test, and you need to be reactive to that, adaptive to what's gonna happen. So if you've done those, so SMB, I'm gonna intervene here. Server messaging block, not Samba, as some people might think. An FTP anonymous login is just a user that doesn't require a password, is an anonymous user. For web, I'm gonna ask you one at a time. What is CSP? Yes, exactly. SMB is used for file sharing. Good job. Well, you do use the username anonymous. We hear you, Mr. Magic, but we hear you very faint. Or at least I do. Yeah, no problem. It's just to give you an idea of how it goes. Nazu, can you please answer the question, what is a protocol? This is a fun exam. I love taking the verbals. I can really put you under stress. For sure, my friend. Take your time. There's no rush. You're nearly halfway there, Nazu. Just a little bit more. This is a grueling exam, by the way. It really isn't that simple. It takes more than 36 hours in total. There's 2 hours for the quiz and this. Then there's more time. Protocol is used to transfer any message. I think it's used TCP. I more meant it in the protocol like HTTP, HTTPS, TCP, IP. They're all protocols. So yeah, it is used for messaging transformation. That's it. You shouldn't explain too much about that. Great job. And then explain me all of the parts of a URL. I'm gonna paste you a URL specifically in the chat, and I would like you to explain all the parts of it, everything that's possible. So there we go. See a URL. What do we have in that URL? Where is my protocol? What is all the rest? Is there a domain name? Is there a, God knows what, a path, a parameter? Good job. Yes, indeed. Yeah, VPNs is definitely not a bad idea, my friend. When you hack with a VPN, you're secure, because if your VPN gets banned, you just add a new one. The thing is, you have to have a solid IP address often, though, because they ask you to whitelist your IP address. So you need to be a little bit careful with that you give them the right IP of the of the VPN that you're using, of course. Not if you're exactly hexpert.com would be the main domain. Exactly, good job, good job. And is there anything more there? Because I see a little bit more. Good job. And is there more? Because I see more there. Good job, good job. And there's more. There's even a pound sign. Do you know what that is? Yeah, that's your value key, you can name it. Parameter key, parameter value, both the same thing. Good job. And there's a pound sign as well. There's this, something like this. Can you name that? You don't even have to name it. What's the function of this? Does this ever reach the server? Well, no, not really, but that's okay, I will tell you. So this is something that happens in the background. It doesn't even reach the page. So I can put things in there that can go to DOM-sync, for example, and then you have DOM cross-site scripting possibilities. That's why I included it there, just so you know that it exists. It's not something that you will fail for. What is a man-in-the-middle proxy? What is that? If you're on YouTube and you think you're tough enough for the exam, I will pin the links to there. There we go. Pin. If you think you're ready, feel free to join us. We'd love to have you. Nazu is doing a really good job, by the way. Exactly. That's a good answer. That's a perfect answer. You don't really need anything else on top of that. Let's see. What is CSP? Let's see what we can come up with. You know, Nazu, you can just copy and paste from Google, right? It protects type of injection attacks such as XML. There is a little flaw in your explanation. Just a small one. It's not always a security header. It can be a meta tag as well. So a meta HTML tag is also a possibility. Just so you know, again, not something really bad, not something that we're gonna fail you for. Now we're going to give you a list of 4 questions. That's why I typed them out. Please explain what is access, broken access control, what is IDOR, and what is RCE. This might take a little bit, so we're going to give you some time for that. Yes, exactly. Content security policy. And we have labs on content security policy as well. Should I show them? I think I should show them, right? It's cool. So I'm going to show my screen for a second. Let's see, there we go. CSP labs. I have quite a few. So in here, we're going to see a CSP header somewhere. And we're going to need to, for this CSP, we're going to inspect it. We're going to see what the request is in the console, I think. Nope. Where is it? In the network, there we go. And we're going to send it over again. So we're going to go to 10.php, and here I expect a request header, like you guys said. Headers, request URL, remote policy. Here we see refer policy, strict origin when cross, and the response headers here. They don't really give that content security thing in here. There's no CSP in here. Where is it? I think this one is going to be in the meta tag somewhere. So let's see if we can find it in here. CSP. Oh, that's the wrong one. I just need CSP. Nope, nothing in here, of course. So let's go back to the elements, because here we might have a meta tag, like I said before. Let's see if we have that. Meta ID, yep, we do, but that's not for what we need. Is there another meta tag? Apparently, there might be. Oh, there it is. I'm a moron. I just printed it on the screen. This is the meta tag, and there is still a way to get through this, because image source is HTTPS and then // so we can use a broken image for this, and we can give it an element. It is possible because the CSP is allowing for it. Shall source none. By default, there's also a default source policy. Default source is self, so if nothing is defined for it, like a video for example, then it goes back to the default. Now in this case, we can't bypass it, so all we need is a broken image in here from anywhere. So just image source equals X. I can also include my own images. And then I say on error equals document.cookie. Let's do that one, alert document.cookie. And we have the document.cookie with CSP bypassed. So just wanted to show you that. Nazu is still typing, that's okay. Take your time, my friend. The other labs that I have, feel free to explore them, my friends. There's just so many that I'm not gonna explore them all here. But in the lessons we do explore them, of course. It's important that you know these CSP bypasses. So here's another CSP, also with the image source star. That's gonna be really easy. On 12 we have another image source, probably. Yeah, we think it might be easy, but I'm gonna show you guys something. It's not always that easy. They might have blocked things. Like for now, for example, we're not seeing the information that we should be seeing. They are blocking certain things. So here we have filters active. I can set up different attack vectors. Of course, if I refresh the page properly and get rid of this attack vector because it's kind of breaking the page. There we go. And then submit the value that I want in there. Nothing happens, unfortunately. So we need to look further. We need to look beyond what we can do. CSP is probably stopping it here. We can also see that if we inspect, we see 2 errors here popping up. Let's go to them. So CSP policy at the very bottom, we can see the issues. CSP policy blocks inline execution of scripts and style sheets. Of course, we did a script here, but if we do the image with a prompt, we also have inline execution errors. So that's not gonna happen. What else was there a possibility? I think we need to do image HTTPS or something, maybe. I have no idea. Let's see what we can bring up. So here we might need to do source equals HTTPS or something. I'm gonna see if this CSP tag is actually the same, of course. Let's see, submit that thing. We can't submit it because we broke the page again. And submit. Oh, we don't have anything popping up. We don't have any CSP popping up. That's probably because I didn't give it an event handler. But anyway, no CSP popped up this time. So what if I do that again, but this time I give it an event handler. So we do HTTPS. I really have to get used to this keyboard, as you guys might notice. And there's an on error alert. I've replaced the greater than sign with HTML entities. And I need to submit it again, of course. Let's do that directly so we don't have any doubts. Directly in the URL. And we don't have a pop-up yet. Now I'm not gonna waste too much time on here. I'm gonna go to the next questions. If Nazu is done, of course, feel free to type onwards, Nazu. When you're done, we're gonna go to the next questions because we only have like a few more minutes of time. And I wanna roast you some more, of course. Let's see. I don't need this anymore. Don't need this anymore. Don't need this anymore. I'm just going to send you a list of questions after this. And I expect you to answer them in a timely manner, of course. You will get 30 minutes to answer them. I'm going to copy and paste them now. Feel free to answer those first ones that you still need to answer, by the way. They're also important. Don't give too much detail. If you give too much detail, it shows that you don't really understand the core functionality of what I'm asking. If you prop on a million details, like I kind of assume that you need those details. Like, I don't know, I don't like too many details. What is broken access control? Basically, you can execute a function that you're not supposed to be able to execute. Can be of the same level of privilege, can be of higher privilege levels. So it's that important. Now, the next questions are gonna be a little bit make or break. So feel free to answer these questions. When you're done, we're gonna have more. XSS is a type of injection, and it has three main types: DOM, reflected, and stored. It happens when we inject code into user input, maybe a search engine, comment field, either. It happens when unauthorized users or normal users directly access resources without privileges. For example, watching someone's order information. And RCE, it's critical security issue. It happens when we execute arbitrary code in a target. Good job, Nazu. Now I'm gonna set you the last set of questions. This is, in my opinion, an important set of questions. What is OSSTMM? What is NIST? What is NIST 800-115? What is Web Security Testing Guide? What is the focus of Web Security Testing Guide? What is DUST? What is SUST? And what is the PTES questionnaires? Ask me 5 questions from there. Good luck, my friend. After this, you will be done. Would you guys like the questions as well on YouTube? Let me paste them in for you. Let's see. That might make it a little bit easier. I can't edit my freaking... It's stupid that you can't edit your message. There we go. Exactly. I'm going to let you answer those last questions in peace, Nazu. Take your time. You still have half an hour. We've gone through everything that we wanted to go through. Our questions have been asked. You did really well up to this point, but of course these questions are gonna make it or break it. Do you understand what I'm asking here? If not, let me know, because this is important. I am going to end the stream on YouTube in a little bit, so I can chill a little bit as well, because it's already after 1 p.m. for me. And I need to chill, my friends. I need to relax a little bit more, because I'm sick. It was great talking to you on YouTube. I'm gonna stop the stream, and I hope you enjoyed this exam questions a little bit. You have an idea of what it entails, and I hope that you agree that we are going much further than OSCP. We try to create pen testers that are ready for the field in my company, not in a network pen testing company. Anybody can do that, to be honest. Like, network pen testing, it's hard, but it's not invincible. Whereas web pen testing, it evolves so much, and of course network as well, because now we have microservices that we need to take into account. We have containers dockerized. We need to take Kubernetes into account as our orchestrator. It's ridiculous how fast the field is growing, and I really appreciate everybody being so interested in it. And I hope that you understand that pen testing sometimes can be repetitive, sometimes can be boring, but it's so much fun if you can report to a bank that you can steal all their money. It really is. It's so much fun. And even bug bounties, if you can report vulnerabilities, I did like 33 in 2 months. I was so proud, dude. Like, I saved 33 issues from production, and that's only because I test differently. I test a lot on the logic. That's just my difference. Anyway, it was good talking to you, everybody. I really appreciate you being here, and I will see you in the next one. I'm gonna stop streaming now. Thank you very much. Bye bye, my friends. Love you.